What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 2B1.
Today we are diving into year 6 up until this very moment.
Yeah. A lot that happened, just like the last episode where we dove into 1 through 5. So it'll be a blur, but hopefully you get the idea.
All right, so let's kick it off with 2019 to 2020. So that year we were actively trying for a family.
Mm-hmm.
Or we are a family, but we were actively trying to add to our family.
Yes.
So we don't want to talk too much about it. One, because we don't want to take up too much time on that. And also because we want to dedicate an episode just to that. But we'll say it was a trying journey.
Mm-hmm.
It had its bumps. It had its bruises. But at the end, God saw it fit to bless us with a little baby boy.
Mm-hmm.
So that was...
You all probably have seen him climbing, jumping, doing a myriad of athletic things because that's just who he is.
Driving me crazy.
But he's also a smart boy. That's our baby boy, Bean.
Yes. Mansa Joaquin Tucker, shout out to you. The one that made us the parents.
Yup. The wonder boy who made us a parent.
That same year, we moved back in with your parents.
Yes,
we left Drexel Brook.
Mm-hmm.
And moved in with your parents because we were down to just one income because you were in school.
Yes. I was finishing up grad school at that point.
Yep. And I was working full-time as a nurse.
Yeah.
And
I think we moved out like maybe 2 months before our lease was up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we weren't going to move in with your parents until Mansa was born or after Mansa was born. I forget when our lease was like up. It was around the same time.
It might have been a month. Our lease might have been up in like July.
Yeah.
And we moved in like right before he was born.
Well, we moved in like, I feel like May because of the pandemic.
Yeah. You know what? You're right because we kind of had that discussion. And we were like, listen, we're not going to stop being around each other. Like, that's not it. So
we pretty much were quarantining at your parents' house.
Yeah.
Like, we would be there all day long and then just go home to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So then it was like, well, we might as well just start moving out now. Like, the plan was to move in with them to save money to get a house, to get our own house.
Yeah.
But to also have their support as we transitioned into parenthood.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings us to 2020, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic. Crazy times.
Yeah.
So the beginning of that year was the pandemic, just figuring that out.
Mm-hmm.
And then June is when we had Mansa.
Yeah, June 26th.
And then what else happened that year?
That year was just, you had Mansa. You had about 11 and a half weeks of maternity leave.
10.
That's what it was. 10 weeks of maternity leave.
I forgot.
Because you just...
Right. Oh, now, okay.
Yeah, you just started at Penn.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Started at
so
Penn,
I had transitions from Temple, from med-surg, doing med-surg nursing, to following my dream of doing labor and delivery. And I had just started at Penn. And, for all us working people, FMLA does not kick in until you're a year deep into your job. So, luckily I was blessed that my manager saw it fit to give me even 10 weeks because she legally didn't have to.
Yeah.
So I had a 10-week maternity leave.
I would like to say it makes sense that labor and delivery floor would value maternity.
I would hope.
And maternity leave. So while we're thankful that her manager did that when they didn't have to, it kind of would have been weird if they were such sticklers against maternity leave in the labor and delivery floor. But neither here or there. It happened. Her manager was very lenient and understanding, I would say, compassionate, and really was searching to make it work. So favor of God was all over that.
Absolutely. So yeah, so that was that.
Yeah, so I guess I could kind of take a little bit of just to go through, like, so that next year, I was finishing up grad school, so I had Monta with me the whole time. So
we'll go
into a lot more detail about that when we talk about our kids in a full episode. But yeah, definitely had Monta with me the whole time.
Doing virtual grad school with Bean in Carrier Bean in the class. Bean low-key already has his master's.
Yo, he got his master's degree. He definitely got his master's degree, and he might even be a nurse.
He might.
He's definitely somebody who doesn't forget.
No.
He remembers everything. So that's a little bit about him. And so I literally finished my whole last year and wrote a thesis. I'll go into what that was like more in the episode that we talk about our children and give a lot of background and even our thoughts on the names that we chose and all that stuff. We'll dive into the woods on that and just parenting and what all that is. That might be a couple parts. That might be
we got a lot to say.
Yeah, we got a lot to say about that, and we want to share our experience. I think just to kind of pause really quick, our big thing with doing this podcast, or I don't even want to say podcast because I feel like it's going to turn into so much more than just podcasting, but with creating content, with interacting with you all, we hope that you continue to follow us and join us. This is going to look like different things. Sometimes it's going to be just Diana, as you've seen during our time doing this. It was just her on one of the episodes, and it was just me on another episode. That may happen at different points as we speak to things specifically to our experience. Now, I'll always be around, but what will happen is in front of the camera, it might just be Diana. I might be off camera with a mic, and I might be able to say something, but I won't be on camera. Vice versa. So she might be in the room while I'm recording, helping me remember stuff, and you might hear her, but you might not see her because it may be specific to being a husband or a father, whereas she might not necessarily fit in that episode with me, but it's still about 2B1. It's about my role here. So just to kind of chime in on that really quick. So we do that. Monta's born. We get through that year.
So now it's 2021 to 2022.
And when we moved in with my parents, we had a desire to buy a home, but we didn't know it was going to happen as quickly as it did. Yeah. Because we moved in May of 2020, and so I graduate in May 2021, and then in July 2021. We closed on the house.
Yeah.
So it happened so quick.
And we weren't even rushing the process. Like we were really
we stopped
slow
for a period of time.
Yeah, we stopped because it got a little crazy.
Shout out to Sam.
Yeah.
She bared with us.
She did, because I feel like I put her through the ringer.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I feel like we saw like 6 houses, put in like 3 bids. They all got outbid, and then I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I just like, it's too much. I need a break. I'm not ready to buy a house. Yeah. And she was gracious enough to be like, okay, like I'll leave your portal open. We would browse through the portal, whatever. Yeah. Went through another round of looking, and then we finally landed in this home.
Yes.
Our home.
Our humble abode. It's a nice house.
Yeah.
I was very happy and proud. Just a little backdrop. The mortgage is in Diana's name. That may be TMI for some people, but that's a big deal because, she comes from, her mom bought her own home. But this is showing the elevation in a sense of this home is probably might be worth like 5 times as much as like her mom's home, which is a testament to just the grind that she committed to, the level of career she went to, and the elevation. And you want each generation to get better. So me making that statement is not about shining on her mom. It's more so to say that's what you want. Her mom should be glad that that's what happened. You know what I mean? So just to show you like the levels of this. So she was able to get in her name, and which was amazing because
you was Tommy. You ain't have no job.
I definitely ain't had no job. But yeah, so it's important to state that. So I'm proud of you.
Thank you. We did it together.
I know that, yeah, we it was definitely a joint effort, but for you to be able to get it in your name and things like that, and of course coming up with the down payment and stuff was a collective effort. I played a part, so I felt good about that, to be able to play a part in that. My name is on the deed, so it is listed.
Out. Can't kick them out.
So it is a part of my assets as much as it's a part of her, and that's what this is all about, 2B1. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm super proud of you. I'm glad to have been a part of that journey with you. I don't count it robbery that you are in a career that you earn more money than I do. That's another episode. We'll talk about finances and who's the head of the house and what that looks like, and how that works and what decides that. Is it the money? Is it the status? Is it the whatever? For those of you who are about that red pill content, but we'll get into that another time.
So yeah. So what else? So that same year, a month or two.
Yeah.
After we kind of got settled into our home, we unexpectedly lost your dad.
Yeah.
That was really hard. That was a really trying time. And the day before your dad passed away, I found out that I was pregnant. Yeah. And so it was just...
And I started a new job the same day. So just
right. Yeah. You start a new job. I find out I'm pregnant, and then
we were all set to converge on the house because we had moved out, but we were all... The plan was, and I don't know who set it in motion. I don't know if it was you that said, let's meet at mom and dad's house.
No, I think we were meeting here because I had made dinner.
Yeah, but I thought the plan at some point was to end up over there because I think you wanted to tell everybody or something like that. Something like that, but I thought we were all supposed to meet there, and then we end up, Diana was home, must have been one of your days off.
Yeah, it was my day.
Because you were at home, and I think that's when on my way home, that's when I had called you. Yeah. That's when my mom called. I'm on my way home, and my mom called me to let me know that news. So, yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, because that's another deep episode that we'll get into. Yeah. But it is one of the big things that happened in our relationship. Yeah. So there was, happiness from unexpectedly finding. We had talked. We know we're grown adults. We know when you engage in certain behavior, what the consequence of that behavior is. But
what the reward of that behavior is.
Okay, I guess we can say reward because we're married.
That's better.
But we had talks about expanding again.
Yeah.
But we were kind of.
We just talked about it. Like, we were like, yeah, I think we're ready to, like, we were in that mindset.
We were like tiptoeing it. Like, oh, yeah, I think we're ready. It wouldn't be terrible right now, but it also would be totally fine if it didn't happen until Mansa was 2 years old.
Yeah.
But
so we were at the space. We were in a space that was kind of like, okay, we were finally at the space of like we're ready to do it. So it was funny because it was almost like we were at that space, and then it was like kind of like God was like, "Oh, that's cute," like that y'all just arrived to that thought because it's already happening.
Exactly,
it's already happening. So
thanks for catching up with what I've already started.
So
that rolls us into 2022, 2023.
Yeah.
So that was a very grief-filled year. I feel like we were both kind of figuring it out, highs and lows of dealing with grief. We had your brother and your mom kind of live with us. Did they live with us both at the same time? Or was it I think there was a minute,
and then mom moved out and Jordan was still here for a while.
That's how I couldn't remember. I couldn't I'm like, wait, did they both live here
Remember,
at
because
the
mom
same
randomly
time.
went and got an apartment. Like, she was looking, but she
But,
like randomly
yeah.
accepted, like signed up and got accepted for an apartment.
Yeah.
So she
So-
was looking, but
So then we flipped the table. Instead of us living with your parents, your mom lived with us for a little bit,
yeah,
which was a blessing. Like the kid, Mansa loves her, and Luca adores her. I mean,
Yeah.
Luca wasn't born yet. She was born in the midst of that time, but it was good to have her here and to also just be a support to her too. During such a big transition, and she had so many moving parts with figuring just life without Pop around stuff. So she was here with us. Your brother was here with us. Eventually, later on that year, I gave birth to Luca, our baby girl, our very sassy baby girl, but love her to death.
Yeah. To life.
To life.
To life. We love her to life. We try to speak positive.
Yes.
So we love her to life. She's wonderful. She's the light that we needed in a dark time.
Mm-hmm.
And even with that, though, we still had to deal with grief.
Yeah.
We had, like I said, like Diana was saying, my brother and my mother lived here. At one point, there was crossover. So my brother was here at the same time my mom was here. But then once my mom secured living, got her apartment that she's been at for a while now, Jordan was able to move into what we use as a guest suite now.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to move into that space until he was ready to move on. So,
And that rolls us into the present day. So now here we are. No, but I want to backtrack because this whole podcast idea was birthed in like 2020.
yeah.
And here we are 4 years.
2020?
Yeah, I feel like that's when
Yes, that was year 7. Yep.
Yeah, when we started
2020.
talking about it and really like wanting to do this, but then the pandemic hit and then children and all this good stuff, along with bad stuff. But here we are, finally doing it.
Yeah, I mean, we had to really regulate to figure out what will work for us.
Yeah.
And so I think now we're going to hit a good stride. This will come at you. This will probably be about as rapid as we release content to you all. So enjoy it for the 10 days.
It. You get 10 days of us nonstop.
Yes.
Don't know when that'll happen again.
Yeah. So I don't know when that's going to happen. It looks like sort of like the podcast I do with my boy Ray. It looks like we'll probably be on the opposite bi-weekly schedule. So whatever our bi-weekly schedule ends up being for the Fresh Perspective podcast.
And it might never be as perfect as maybe these episodes are. It might be some screaming children in the background or in the forefront of the camera zooming into you guys and saying hello.
Yeah.
So. But it is what it is, right? Because at the end of the day, like, I feel like in all of this, even in these countdown series to our 10-year wedding anniversary, our goal is to communicate with you guys, but also to just communicate with each other and have that open, safe space to just reflect and grow and encourage and push one another along.
And love each other.
Yeah.
I think that's the key right there is like
shout out to the new jobs that are also giving us the time and space to do this. Cause I no longer work 12-hour days.
Yeah, she's not on the typical nurse. And maybe one day she'll go back to it. But I really appreciate that. I should say that really quick to close this out. I really appreciate you doing that from the bottom of my heart because it was a desire of mine for a while. It almost happened last year. But I firmly believe that it wasn't God's will because I do believe that most of what you got in this position is far more beneficial to you and us as a family. It gives you some experience in a level that I know you're highly competent in, which is supervising and educating. So I really appreciate God's timing, because if it was up to me, you would have took that job last year, and you might have been trying to get back to Penn as quick as possible this year. But I think this position, while it has its challenges and it's new territory, I do think it is a God thing, and you're going to get so much out of it. I'm not saying you're going to be, and then we'll see, because there's things on the horizon regarding this particular hospital system, medical system. So we'll see what that turns into, because it could really turn into an even more beneficial thing in the future when things are settled. So we'll see. But I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you, because it was a step out on faith and a sacrifice.
It still is.
And I want you to know that I support you, and I want you, to always feel that love that I have for you, even outside of you doing that. But yeah, you're a great wife, a great mother, a friend, a daughter. You're exceptional in all those areas. So I just wanted to say thank you. Yes, I goof around a lot, but I'm serious about my wife.
Well, thank you.
And my children and my family.
I'm
like Vin Diesel. I'm like Dom Toretto. I'm serious about my family.
Serious. Well, thank you for saying all of that. And it's a hard transition. But I forget who I was telling one of my girlfriends / old coworker now, that as hard as this transition is, and as much as I'm being tested and pushed to grow more, I can't see myself right now leaving, being home every night and being home every weekend. So we'll see what the future holds, right? Yes. I miss my bedside labor and delivery, coaching mamas through that beautiful time. But right now, nothing's more precious than spending quality time with my family.
And I think you'll have time to vision what you doing that could look like in the future, because it may not look like you returning to a hospital system to do it.
Right.
So we'll see what that looks like, and it may be a greater way for you to do the very things that you were doing while still having the time that you have. Yeah. And possibly even more. So
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So that's it for this episode of 2B1.
Thank you for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment below if you would love to.
Also, see our email. If you have any questions for us, any ideas, please shoot them to us. If you're an artist of musical ability and you want to have your song, preferably like an R&B song type thing, played here, please reach out to that email that we're going to put in the description for you to send your songs and let us know maybe what part of the song, because we could probably do the intro and maybe it becomes a staple intro for our podcast going forward. So send those in and we will see you next time.
See you next time.
2B1 forever.